The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
See that cute little dog in the pet store window? Chances are it came from a puppy mill. A breeding facility that forces caged, neglected, and often sick dogs to churn out puppy after puppy to be sold for profit. Meanwhile, millions of wonderful, healthy pets end up in animal shelters. This leads to the killing of more than 9,000 by the end of today. But with one simple choice, you can help, just by deciding to adopt instead of purchase your next pet. Animal shelters are full of amazing pets looking for a home. When you adopt your new best friend, not only are you saving a life, you're taking a stand against puppy mills. When your friends see the smart choice and impact you've made, they adopt their next pet and share with 5 of their friends, who share with 5 more. Before long, thousands get involved. Pet stores stop selling dogs from puppy mills, and even more lives are saved. And with your help, we can save them all. Visit bestfriends.org/puppymills to learn more.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
and so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
It's a huge burden lifted financially, and so it allows you to give singular focus to your child. I've never known a hospital that takes care of their patients so thoroughly.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When they told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. And ecclesiastites all across the globe. It is I, your lovable host, Rod, coming to you live this Thursday, which is now October number 5 in the year of our Lord 2017. Glad that you are all here. The Hot Rod line is still 603-835-26. We've had some people who've been able to get through online for business yesterday. Some people are still not. Also, Skyping it. Skype identifier is Reccles44, Reccles 44. So if you can get a hold of a Skype, then that'll work for you as well. Here it is. We're getting close to the weekend already. I mean, it's already October number 5. Can't believe it, but it is true. And we have all of this wonderful stuff coming out about the shooter in Vegas. Paddock, Stephen, whatever. I hate to really keep repeating this guy's name. The P-Man. Should we use that moniker? Just call him the P-Man? Because he needs to be pissed on, really, to tell you the truth. And I hate to give this guy any more credit than is really due to him. But in any case, there is a lot of information coming out about this guy. Of course, as we figured there would be, as the more they investigated, the more they found out about him. The more we get to know who this guy is. His girlfriend is back in town. And by town, I mean she's in L.A., right? The police and the FBI have her in L.A. She's a person of interest. But we're finding a lot of information out about this person simply for, because of his life. I mean, he was 64 years old, obviously. And he left a trail. Well, when you're 64 years old and you're a multimillionaire and you like to gamble. Well, there's a report here that he was portrayed as a responsible gambler. Now, I don't know what that means. I mean, he gambled within his means. I guess that's responsible. Well, it could be. I don't know. Gamble within your means. Meaning, if you're a millionaire, I guess you can gamble, $100,000, and as long as you can pay the bills, then you're good to go. So this guy was portrayed as being a good gambler, a responsible gambler. I love how they do that also. At places like, when you have the lottery people, the lottery advertisers, they all tell you, gamble. You hear the lottery commercials on the radio. Please gamble responsibly. If you have a problem with gambling, call the gambling hotline, whatever it is. But I love how they do that for people. Tell them, hey, we're going to promote this, this thing that you might be addicted to. But that's okay, because government's really, I guess if government really were, well, government really does benefit from obviously the lottery. Many of them do. But if government were to, local governments, state governments, all 50 states are participating in some sort of lottery, right? But even if benefit highly from that, which is why I'm surprised they don't allow for advertising ads. Well, that isn't because of money for that. Well, it is because of money. They need the money. But excuse me, getting some coffee this morning. But as we continue going on and learning more and more about this guy, what we find out is that he was kind of, well, I guess you could say he was complicated, but he was meticulous. I mean, this is something, as I said, you've got all the wonderful law enforcement agencies out there, all the talking heads telling you that obviously this was a well planned out, well thought out process. There was another concert I guess Ariana Grande had a concert, about a week before this one? And evidently he tried to, well, according to, I know, the wonderful news source Inside Edition, you know the program that Bill O'Reilly once ran, or wasn't he the anchor of that like 20 years ago? I think so. But anyway, I think that's where I first really saw and found Bill O'Reilly. I think he was Inside Edition. But the tabloid half-hour news magazine or magazine show on in the evenings just before prime time. Well, they had a story that he evidently the P-Man tried to rent or lease a condo that overlooked the open lot where the Ariana Grande concert was being held. And he was unable to do that. So as I said, this guy was looking for stuff. This wasn't a spur of the moment thing. Because, I mean, that's what they try to make this sound. Oh, yeah, he had all these guns. It was a spur-of-the-moment thing. No, it was not a spur-of-the-moment thing. No way, no how. This was well thought out and well planned. In fact, obviously he had scoped various locations to do his dastardly deed. Now, if he was looking to hit a concert that was bigger than this one, but the only thing that stopped him is that he couldn't rent the condo. Nobody would rent him a condo that overlooked the concert venue. And what I hate the most, though, is you get these reporters on there and they were acting all scared and I was here at this concert. Can you imagine? He almost rented that. It's a little bit phony to be scared after the fact and try to insert yourself into the tragedy. You were in danger. You weren't in danger. He didn't get the condo. He didn't shoot it up, the place that you were at. You weren't in danger. Obviously, you weren't almost in. I know people try to, they want to be a part of tragedy somehow to try to, to connect. But no, you weren't. I mean, that's about as bad as saying, well, I arrived in Las Vegas when the shooting started. Can you imagine if I arrived earlier? No, I can't imagine if you arrived earlier. Would you have gone to the concert? No, I didn't have tickets. I wasn't going. Then you weren't in danger. I mean, well, I was in Las Vegas when the shooting started. Yeah, so what? Las Vegas is huge. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure that people understand that when they try to place themselves in danger in an area in which they are never in danger, it diminishes the act of the people and the people who actually had to go through with it. I mean, my God, all I got to say is, well, look, if I want to insert myself, yeah, I've been to concerts before like that, where there have been tall buildings around the concert arena. He could have been at any one of those at any time. No, that's ridiculous. And we have the media that perpetrates this for us. It fans this flame when you get reporters that say, yes, I was at this Ariana Grande concert a week before when he tried to rent that room. Big deal. There's a ton of stuff going on around us that we don't know about, that criminals are doing or trying to do. And they don't succeed for one reason or another. Are we going to run around thinking, well, oh, geez, I was there or I was here and he could have done this and he could have done that? And you can't do that. You can't insert yourself to a real life tragedy by pretending that to put yourself in danger in another arena or area that there was no danger. But this is what a lot of politicians do as well. You got Tim Kaine out there. I mean, what adult this guy is. Hey, Tim Kaine, can you imagine if? No, Tim, we can't imagine if. Because he didn't have something. What he did have is he had some ingredients. Now, I don't think he had all the ingredients. Evidently, he had some ingredients to make a bomb. Now, evidently, making a bomb was on his mind. Thank God he didn't use it. Thank God he was unable to for whatever reason, he was unable to make the bomb. I don't know why. I mean, it got some stories here that the sheriff thinks maybe this guy wasn't acting alone. Now the sheriff is saying he didn't act alone. Did I not say that? Didn't I ask the question, why so many guns for one guy? That doesn't make any sense. Why did he have bomb-making material for one guy? All of this stuff, for one man. I'm like, it doesn't pass the smell test for this just to be a single-man operation like this. This well planned out, too. But in any case, by the way, I've gotten access to a picture. It's a very graphic picture of the dead shooter, of him after the police stormed the room and they took his picture, I guess, and they released a picture. And the funny thing is, I know it's graphic, but when you look at it, because we've been so desensitized with movies, graphic movies, it's not very shocking. The picture is not shocking. Now, I'm sure, for most people, if they were to actually see this guy lying in front of them, shot up like that in the head, it might freak most people out. But to see it in a picture on a TV, on a screen, like a computer or a television, it's not all that shocking. To tell you the truth, it's not all that gruesome. But we'll post it on rodeccles.net later this afternoon. If you want, we'll put up the caveats. We'll set it off on a separate page and let you know that it's graphic. If you want to preview, now this is not. I'm not glorifying this guy at all. But there are some people that are saying, well, he's not dead. Like, well, yeah. I don't know what kind of proof it's going to take to prove that the man is dead, but I can at least show the picture and you can decide for yourself if the picture is really of him, if it's makeup, or if it's the real thing. Okay? I can't make decisions for you. I can only present items and evidence to you, and you have to decide for yourself. But you might be surprised, especially if you're into cop movies or horror movies or anything like that. It's not going to be all that gruesome for you. Now, if all you watch is G and PG movies, then you might be a little taken aback by the picture. Now, look, you can't even. It's hard to. I don't even think there's G stuff on TV anymore. Even Cartoon Network most of the time doesn't have G stuff. It's kind of hard to find just G-rated stuff. When was the last time there was a G-rated movie that was a hit? I don't know. But anyway, Tim Kaine is here talking about what could have made it worse if the Vegas shooter actually had something. And what it's doing is he's pushing an agenda. He's pushing an agenda that has nothing to do with the shooter and the shooting and in Vegas and the massacre in Vegas in and of itself. He's just ignorantly using this to try to further his leftist agenda. I'll tell you what it is when we get back.
You're listening to me, your lovable host, Rod, here on the Rod Eccles Show.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Welcome back, and for those of you who don't remember Tim Kaine, you're probably saying, that name sounds familiar. Well, he was the vice presidential candidate for Hillary Clinton. In other words, he was almost the vice president. This is a guy that was almost the vice president of the United States. I know this is going to be kind of scary for some people. But Tim Kaine, this is what he said. He said, Tim Kaine said that this could have been worse. The shooting could have been worse if the shooter had a suppressor or basically a silencer. Now, I mean, that's just all kinds of stupid and all kinds of wrong. This just goes to show this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, understand, I get it. There are a lot of people out there, and not just Americans, but there are a lot of people out there that run around thinking that silencers, especially on powerful guns, think that a silencer actually makes a gun silent. It's about as bad as them, you know, if it were just so easy to do certain things as it is in the movies, then people would just do them. Like for instance, when they put a pillow over a gun, they put a down pillow over. That's not going to silence a gun very much, especially a powerful gun. If you got a little, you know, pea shooter 22, that might work. Might muffle the sound a bit. But if you're using a 9 or a Glock or a 44 or a 45, you know, big gun, or how are you going to put a pillow over a rifle barrel or a shotgun barrel? It's hard to reach. That you know, it's kind of awkward. You're not going to be able to aim very well. So, you know, they put a silencer on it, but we've misnamed this stuff. It's not really a silencer, it's a suppressor. You know what a silencer, if you've never heard a real silencer or a real suppressor, I'm like, stop calling it a silencer, because it's not a silencer. It doesn't take away all the sound. It doesn't go poof. This is what we see in the movies. It goes poof, poof, poof. And nobody hears anything. According to the movies. That's not the way they work. I have actually heard a gun being fired with a suppressor on it. Let me tell you, it's not as quiet as the movies would have you think. If it were, then the military and the police departments would be using them. Honestly, they're not that. You know what they do? Well, let me just give you a quick example of what a suppressor actually sounds. A suppressor, the best way to describe this is if you were to go into a noisy environment and you were to put, you buy those squishy earplugs at the store for, like 50 cents a pack or something like that. You take those earplugs, not ear muffs or, the head things that people put on, the big things, but you just take those little squishy things. The things that you can probably buy at, 50 cents a pack or something like that at Home Depot. You stick those in your ear. You can still hear just about everything around you, can you not? It's just muffled a little bit. So it's the kind of thing that a lot of people would use if they're using power equipment, like a lawnmower or a chainsaw or something. You should use better hearing protection if you're using a chainsaw or any gas-powered piece of lawn equipment. But this is what it sounds like. Do you not still hear the traffic around you? Yes. Do you not still hear the motor that you're running? Yes. Well, okay, that's what it's going to sound, a little bit muffled. The sound is not, with a suppressor, the sound is not going to be as loud and it's not going to travel as far as if there was no suppressor on it, but people are still going to hear it. Now, there's another problem with a suppressor. Suppressors go at the end of the barrel. Now, barrels are made to take heat and to dissipate heat. Suppressors can't do that, because they're there to try to suppress the sound. That means they're going to trap a lot of the sound, the gases, the heat, and everything else within the suppressor. If you have a gun that is a rapid-fire gun like that, you're going to mess up, you're going to melt the suppressor. It's going to be rendered useless, not to mention dangerous to the shooter. It could block the gun, and the gun could backfire. Yeah, I mean, this is how ignorant this person is about suppressors. But this is Tim Kaine. And he's out there for a special, talking about this suppressor nonsense for a special reason. And, well, Looking at the clock, we don't have time to go into it. Now, I got to tell you about that special reason when we get back after the break. Do have to pay the bill, so stay tuned, folks. I'll tell you why Tim Kaine is on this bandwagon about this suppressor, and a lot of Democrats, but they've all got it wrong.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals. Because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and practice an escape plan for you and your loved ones. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
Have you mixed your pain meds, your sleep meds, your allergy meds? Call the Poison Helpline. Has your child eaten a tube of toothpaste, a chip of paint, a wild mushroom? Call the Poison Helpline. Have you been bitten by a spider, a snake, an insect? Call the Poison Helpline. Poisonings can happen at the home, on the job, or in the great outdoors. Call the Poison Helpline first for fast, free advice from medical professionals. Call 1-800-222-1222 anytime, anywhere. 1-800-222-1222. Save the number, save a life. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hi, I'm Hillary Duff. As a mom, I'm proud to support the March of Dimes in helping more women have full-term pregnancies and healthy babies. That's why I walk in March for Babies. The money we raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org. Together, we can help make healthier babies possible for thousands of families.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
America's wounded warriors are coming home. After serving on foreign shores, these brave men and women are returning to their families and communities. Many have wounds you can see, and many have wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Now that these warriors are back home, they are ready to enter the civilian workforce. To help, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a career counseling service that helps warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. These extraordinary men and women bring proven world-class job skills and a unique perspective on teamwork to the job. And to ensure the right warrior finds the right job, Wounded Warrior Project works with employers to find just the right match. When you hire a wounded warrior, you hire an intelligent, talented, and committed new employee. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
You're listening to The Rod Eccles Show. Let truth be told.
I have something here in my currently cigar nicotine stained fingers that I wanted to bring to you yesterday. In case you haven't heard, we'll get to Tim Kaine in just a second. He's not going anywhere. Here it is. If you have little children in the room, you probably that are listening in, and I know that there are little kiddies listening every once in a while. But if you're listening to this later as a download or a rebroadcast, and the kids are around, and your kids of our shall we say of the magical belief age for Christmas time, you know what kids like to think about at Christmas time, and I'm not talking about the gifts themselves, but the delivery system. This is about the delivery system. And they probably shouldn't be hearing this. Just saying. I'm giving you the chance and warning you for, if your kid can hear this and understand this, and he's probably, I don't know, how old, 3rd grade or younger? 8 or younger? You probably want them not to hear this part. Yes, it's about St. Nicholas. Yes, right here. Archaeologists in Turkey believe they have discovered Santa Claus's tomb. Yes. The original archaeologists in Turkey have made a discovery which could settle a century-old debate, as well as disappoint millions of children around the world. They have unearthed what they say is likely the tomb of the original Santa Claus, or St. Nicholas, beneath the ancient church in Demre, South Turkey. Demre, D-E-M-R-E, previously known as Myra or Myra, M-Y-R-A, in the Antalya province, is believed to be the birthplace of the 4th century bishop, also known as Nicola, or Saint Nicola, Nicola, depending on, Jesus, Jesus, depending on what your language is. Now, according to Samil Karabiaram, the head of Antalya's Monument Authority, said the shrine was discovered during electronic surveys that showed gaps beneath the church. We believe the shrine has not been damaged at all, but it is quite difficult to get to, as there are mosaics on the floor. He said they were very optimistic about uncovering St. Nicholas's remains, but warned it will take some time to scale each tile one by one and remove them as a whole in a mold. They believe that they have actually, yes, folks, they believe they have actually found the tomb of the original St. Nicholas, the famous bishop that died in 343 A.D. No, I don't use that BCE crap. BC or ACE, whatever, after Common Era, whatever it is, before Common Era. CE, Common Era, and BCE, before. I use BC and AD. Plain and simple. So they believe that, but they haven't gotten to it yet. They haven't. It could be a year before they actually make it to the tomb, because there are tons of historical. Well, the monument or the church that they believe this tomb is under is fully intact, and it has mosaics and carvings and reliefs that are fully intact, and it's a tourist location all over the place. So they have to meticulously catalog and remove, mosaics and reliefs and artifacts and things like that from the church above before they can start digging, so they can put it all back exactly the same. But I think if they find this whatever's under there and it turns out to be a tomb, and they realize that it is the tomb of the original Saint Nicholas from 343 A.D., somehow I believe that they will modify the church in a way to allow people and visitors to see the area in the tomb. I don't think they're going to put things back the way they were exactly. I'm just saying. Is that good news? I think that. Look, there was actually a man that spurred the legend of Santa Claus. I think that's fantastic. It shows that there is goodness in humans. There's goodness in mankind, and Christ didn't die on the cross for nothing. That there were some true saintly people. Now, I know that there are stories about Saint Nick that he wasn't all that, but in that what we know as Santa Claus today is an amalgam of different men throughout the centuries who did pretty much the same thing. I know there are a bunch of, the Swedes have their own Santa Claus, and the Germans have a Santa Claus, and I think the French had a Santa Claus. Obviously, the Italians had a Santa Claus, and this Nicholas is. He's Ottoman Empire, Turkish Empire, that type of thing. He was Persian, evidently. So, yeah, I know that's going to throw a lot of people. St. Nicholas could have been Persian? Well, Roman. I know that there's an amalgam of all these different historical figures, both real and imagined, that have been compressed into the modern day Santa Claus. Now remember, folks, this modern day incarnation of Santa Claus was a commercial gimmick invented by Macy's. Macy's is the one that came up with the current incarnation. I think it was back in the 20s or 30s. Santa didn't always have that red and white suit that we know of Santa today. He's had some elaborate clothing. Well, we would consider it elaborate, but back in the day when they were alive, it wasn't so elaborate. That was just the way they dressed in the winter months, in snow and stuff. And some of these people, some of these men, would have been wealthy in their day, not billionaires, but they would have been comfortable in their day. And some of them were poor, and all they could do was just make simple toys and stuff for good children throughout the year, and then deliver them. We also get things like Krampus, right? Krampus does more than just deliver coal. Krampus visits bad boys and girls and scares the piss out of them, I guess. I don't know. Does it really kill them? Yeah. It takes bad boys and girls away. So, we have all kinds of different, but that's an amalgam of different evil things that happened to kids back in the day as well. I guess Krampus is Krampus a demon? I'd never heard, to tell you the truth, I'd never heard of Krampus until about a year or two ago when they had the movie came out. And I actually Netflix, it was on Netflix. Last Halloween we actually watched Krampus. It was dumb, but evidently I didn't even know about this thing, Krampus, until a couple of years ago. But evidently, since learning, he's also an amalgam of various evil spirits and demons over the centuries from different. It's amazing how we can combine all this stuff from history into one. But when we get to recent history and we know the actual truth, that history we want to erase. We want to rewrite. Yeah. In any case. They think it is. They think that evidently they found another bag of bones, as it were, believed that used to have been believed to be Saint Nicholas, and they were smuggled to the Italian city of Bari, B-A-R-I, by merchants in the year 1087. Christians visit the site of what was thought to be his final resting place in Bari's Basilica di San Nicola. However, Turkish experts are now claiming that the wrong bones were removed, and those taken abroad belong to another local priest rather than the legendary Bishop St. Nicholas. So they believe they have definitely found Santa Claus. Now, what's going to freak people out is if they find the tomb to be empty, and there's no evidence of anybody taking him out. I'm just saying, just be prepared for that. People are going to think things are freaky. Tim Kaine, back to Tim Kaine. Now, he made his remarks shortly after the horrendous attack took place. This guy, people. Notice how nobody's calling Mike Pence a dolt or an idiot. I mean, honestly. I mean, sure, you got the left doesn't really like Mike Pence, especially his stance on gay marriage and gay so-called gay rights and stuff like that. But they don't say things so negatively about Mike Pence because he doesn't. No, I love how they call Republicans the dumb ones. And yet we've had a vice president that opened his mouth and inserted his foot daily for 8 years. And they call this guy brilliant. Yeah, you remember him. Well, this is the guy that almost took his place. Now, I guess we could put ourselves in danger by saying and relating to things that happen to other countries that have bad people in office. We could have had Tim Kaine as vice president. This dolt was running around talking about how the casualties would have been much worse had the shooter used a suppressor. Now understand what he's talking about here is the lack of discussion to actually ban the use of suppressor. It's already illegal to use a suppressor in an unauthorized manner. You gotta the licensing to get a suppressor to be legal to use one is ridiculous. All because of the notion that people think that suppressors are silencers like the movies, and that only assassins use them. That there is no need for them other than if you're going to be an assassin, a murderer. That's not what a suppressor does, by the way. That's why it's rightfully called a suppressor, not a silencer. It doesn't turn most guns silent. In order to, I know movies are bad. They're really, really bad at providing the wrong kinds of information that people believe is the truth. I mean, I've seen movies where the assassin has put on a suppressor on the barrel of a handgun that's as long or longer and as big or bigger than the gun itself. Basically, turning the gun. The handgun basically becomes the size of about a sawed-off shotgun. I mean, it extends the barrel that much. I mean, it's ridiculous. Why would you even bother if you're trying to be clandestine? You can't, and you're trying to use a small gun. Why would you all of a sudden put something on the end of it to make it huge that you can't hide? I mean, it's just well, I mean, you go into in movies, of course, all you got to do to hide your gun is just to open your jacket and stick your hand with the gun in there. Nobody's going to notice you walking around looking like Napoleon. Of course, that's the way you do it. Well, that's the movies. That's the movies. But besides, this dolt doesn't even realize, or maybe he does, but he maybe understands that most people out there don't realize that a suppressor is not going to work on a semi or an automatic rifle because, as I mentioned earlier, the thing tries to trap sound, the gases, the heat. It does not dissipate the heat very well. It's not designed to dissipate heat. People don't realize there's a lot of heat in firing a gun. There's a lot of heat, especially in these types of rifles, these automatics and things. There's a lot of heat generated. And if the item or device is not designed to dissipate the heat, it's going to melt or bend or soften. That includes a suppressor. We haven't developed, as far as I know, we haven't developed a suppressor that can dissipate heat for an automatic fired weapon. It's not going to happen. And if we have, it's probably so top secret that it's not on the open market. There's no way even this guy with all his money could have gotten one. But the whole notion is to try to bring this into, well, let's just go over this for a second. His believe it or not, he was given 2 Pinocchios for 2 out of 5. I for lying at the fact checker. The case in this is the evidence doesn't support Kane's claim that the shooter was only stopped. He said the shooter was stopped only because he wasn't using a suppressor. The evidence doesn't support his claim that the shooter was only stopped because he did not have a suppressor on his weapons. Yes, that's very exaggerated and could leave a misleading impression on people only familiar with silencers in the movies. Could lead, it will lead. In the right kind of misleading interpretation or impression. For the left, the crowd under attack might have had trouble establishing the location of the shooter if he had silencers, but if he fired from a hotel filled with guests who almost certainly would have heard 132 decibels from the floors above and below the attack, as we all know already that somebody directly below the room that he was firing told the police where he was. So if you fact check the entire statement from Senator Kane, almost Vice President Kane, you'll find that if the guy if he just did a modicum of homework, he would not have said, well, he probably would have said what he said, because he realizes that most people, they get their history, their facts, their information from Hollywood, which is YouTube and movies and television. And let's face it, when it comes to guns, most people, unless they actually fire a gun, and the people that Kane is talking to, obviously are a bunch of dolt-headed Democrats that have probably never fired a gun, not even in the Boy Scouts. Oh, they probably hate the Boy Scouts anyway. They don't know what it's like to fire or hear the sound of a real gun. The sound of most guns don't sound like these big, bold things that we hear on TV. You know what they sound? They sound like firecrackers. Why do you think everybody thinks that when somebody shoots off a gun, they say it sounds like, we thought it was firecrackers? Because that's what they sound like. Most guns don't sound like a mini explosion like in the movies. Most guns fired sound like, pop, 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 pop. They sound like mini firecrackers. And it's not hard to get the sound. All you got to do is listen to sound that comes from war zones. When we get newsreel footage back from war zones, that the soldiers are shooting off high-powered rounds from their automatics and semi-automatics, and it sounds like firecrackers. So it's no wonder people at first, whenever they hear this stuff, nobody runs at first because it's ingrained in their head through the movies and television what a gun sounds like, and what they're hearing from coming out the window of that hotel room does not sound like a gun. People actually, hey, firecrackers. Wait, not really. What is it? It's a gun. It takes people a while to register that, for most people to register that sound in their head. Because they don't hear firecrackers go off every day. They don't hear guns go off every day. They're not trained to hear a gun go off like a police officer or a soldier. These are just everyday people. So the initial reaction is, kind of sounds like firecrackers. Who's got fireworks going? And then when people start dropping, then they get or they get hit or hear a bullet whiz by their head. Then they get the idea this is not firecrackers. Mr. Kane. This is ridiculous. Well, geez, we're far over time. We'll be right back, folks.
Hello, America. It's me, your history. I remember a time when we thumbed our nose in a king's face, sent him packing. And when fascists and emperors talked a little bit too loud, we showed up, tore their cities to the ground, and then rebuilt them just to prove we could. We put men on the moon, we won a Cold War, and we elected fearless leaders who led fearless people. What the hell happened to you, America? Back in my day, we didn't elect a big-eared community organizer. We punched him in the kidney. Maybe it's time you came home, America. Home where you belong.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
This is Free America broadcasting on the Rod Eccles Show with a message to all patriots trapped behind the lines in California, New York, Boston, and Chicago. Don't give up, true lovers of America. Even as we speak, moves are being made to drive the invaders back to the land from which they came. Defeat the would-be dictators and lift the chains of tyranny from around your neck. Stay strong. Stay brave. You're not forgotten, and you're not alone. Until next time, patriots, this is Free America signing out.
Okay. I think I have to clarify this whole now the Santa Claus thing. Now, Saint Nicholas could have been Persian. Now it was at the time 343 AD would have put him smack in the middle of the Roman Empire, of which later Persia became the Eastern Roman Empire. Basically, when they tried to reform the Roman Empire after it had fallen, he still could have been Persian. But it was part of Rome. It was the Roman Empire. He could have been Italian. I don't know what, Bishop Nicholas' name really was, to tell you the truth. None of the stories I've read about him actually say. I don't know where he was born. Didn't know that he possibly could have died and been sent to Turkey either. So, but in any case, he could have been Persian. And the clothing, obviously, for the bishops of the Roman Catholic Church at the time, where he was, could have been Persian stuff. But he was, just because he was in Persia doesn't mean that he was Persian, is what I should have said, but he could have been. I don't know. These guys are, well, it is what it is, folks. We'll be back.
Call Rod now, 603-835-3226. Lines are open.
Have you ever thought to yourself, I'm a leftist elite Hollywood a-hole? If so, good news. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College is now open, featuring such courses as unemployment is not paid vacation. No, Americans don't want to spend $19 for an order of french fries, and the ever popular shut the hell up. Why, just listen to this big-time celebrity endorsement.
I'm not Rosie O'Donnell, and I think this school's offensive, sexist, and racist.
And I think you're a giant a-hole who needs to shut the hell up. Hey, we teach a course in that. The Rod Eccles Hollywood Community College, where being an a-hole is not a guarantee you'll be an A student.
I considered suicide so I wouldn't put my family through all the pain.
Many of our warriors are returning home from the battlefield, only to face a new war as they struggle with devastating injuries. At Wounded Warrior Project, we understand. We're there to help.
Even though you think you're broken, you're not. It's the physical and the emotional healing that Wounded Warrior Project provides.
With a gift of just $19 a month, you can join Wounded Warrior Project. You'll help provide critically needed programs and services that rebuild lives.
Beautiful. There you go, buddy.
The ongoing needs of our wounded and their families will continue for many years to come. Now is the time to show your support. Call now or go online with your gift of just $19 a month, and we'll send you this Wounded Warrior Project blanket.
It made me feel that there's people out there that care about us.
After this event, we can finally maybe start to heal as a family and move forward.
We need your help. The families are hurting.
For many of our wounded heroes, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. That's why your gift of just $19 a month is so important. Please call or go online right now.
Think fast. In the short time it takes to listen to this message, a small flame can turn into a big fire. Several minutes more, and thick, poisonous smoke may have filled your lungs and reduced your ability to respond. Give it 5, and your entire home may be filled with flames.
Keep breathing. We've got you.
Don't let your world go up in smoke. Have working smoke alarms and always stay in the kitchen when cooking at high temperatures. Learn more at usfa.fema.gov, because fire is everyone's fight.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound.
It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge.
Welcome back. Here we are, hour number 2 here on the Rod Eccles Show. It is October number 5 in the year of our Lord 2017 as we just rapidly move along. Now, yours truly, yes, that would be me. I am constantly working even when the show is on the air, I'm still gathering info and intel. And people are sending me stuff, and I go and quickly, during the time allotted, try to view and scan things as quickly as I possibly can. And something just came. I got sent this information about Seth Rich. We'll get back to Tim Kaine. I'm not done with Tim Kaine yet. Trust me. We'll get back to him. Stay with me, folks. This is important stuff here too. It's something I'm not quite getting on this information about Seth Rich. The Department of Justice wants records of Seth Rich murder released. Now, this response comes from a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act case brought by a Texas attorney. Now, okay, fine. Now this is where I'm getting a little bit confused, because this is where it's not making any sense. If the Department of Justice, i.e., if the Attorney General wants the records of this whole thing released, then he can release them, can he not? I mean, was there some sort of presidential or congressional order that prevents the DOJ from releasing this information? If there is, I don't know about it. I don't know how, I suppose that there could be a presidential order, executive order. Or, I don't remember any laws being passed by Congress, signed by either Obama or Trump, that would put a lid on exposing any of this stuff. I don't know. Did they make it top secret? Then that would be that. Well, I guess it's not necessarily military, but here's a story. The Department of Justice is demanding that the U.S. Attorney's Office for Washington, D.C. release records relating to the murder of Democratic National Committee employee Seth Rich. Now, am I also under a false... Isn't the U.S. Attorney part of the Department of Justice? In other words, isn't the Attorney General the boss of the attorneys at the U.S. Attorney's Office for Washington, D.C.? Do I have my civics wrong here? I'm trying to figure out how it is that a Texas attorney back on September 1st, Ty Clevenger, can submit a Freedom of Information Act request to the DOJ and FBI requesting all records and correspondence pertaining to the Rich murder. The request includes, but is not limited to, any records or correspondence resulting from any investigation of his murder. The U.S. Attorney's Office rejected Clevenger's FOIA request, demanding that he submit a death certificate with his request to prove that Seth Rich was actually dead. I'm sorry, I'm confused as hell by this. Do you not have did you not have a murder investigation? Is not the U.S. Attorney's Office part of the Department of Justice? And thus, would not, if the Department of Justice wanted the records to be released, shouldn't they be? Why aren't they being released? I maybe it's just the way the story's written, but I only had a chance to go through it quickly and briefly during the break, but it seems to me, I mean, you have the U.S. Attorney, district office in D.C. basically telling, well, hey, produce the death certificate so we know if you're talking about if the guy's really dead. What? I mean, I don't understand this. It shouldn't even be a story. Other than the fact that the story should be written in it. This is how the story should actually be written. Maybe I don't know. It shouldn't even be a story this way. But here's the story. The way it's written and the way I perceive it, and I'm sure a lot of people will perceive it this way too. I don't know. Maybe I'm just because I read it too fast and I'm just an idiot. I'm adult. I don't know. But it sounds like in the story, maybe it's just the way it's written, that the DOJ is demanding that the information be released because it's still not being released, but they're demanding that you should. So like they have to go to court to get it released. Here's the way it should have been written. There was a FOIA request for this information. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. rejected the FOIA request because of whatever stipulation, including that he needed to, the attorney in Texas needed to provide a death certificate to show that that Rich was dead. The Attorney General's Office, the Department of Justice, overrode the denial, and the information has been released to the attorney that has requested. But that's not the way the story is written, which is what confused me. But no, let's just take this a step further here, folks. Let's carry this further. We have a government that is in such flux that it seems like there are a bunch of people in our government that don't know how things work. And I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about a bunch of experienced long-term people. There are people there that think that their actual boss is not their actual boss. I mean, for instance, you've got congressional leaders. Oh, well, then I'm sorry, I don't call them leaders. You have senators and congressmen who think that the president cannot fire the special prosecutor, Mueller. Well, he works for the Department of Justice, which is part of the executive branch, which the president is the CEO. You have these people in Congress that think that the president needs to get their permission before he can fire any cabinet level member or anybody, like the FBI director. You know how they all threw a fit? He can't fire Comey. Well, yeah, he can. So we have lots of people, obviously, who do not understand how our government is structured and who's the boss. at various levels of government. So could it be, now me understanding this and looking at this historically on D.C., I'm going to defend myself by saying it is pretty easy to see how I could get confused by the way this story was written, that somebody didn't understand that the Attorney General is the boss of the U.S. Attorney General and the U.S. Attorney, and the U.S. Attorney was defying the Department of Justice. It wouldn't be the first time, obviously. So maybe I was reading too much into it. But when you're dealing with Washington, and especially the recent history of Washington, D.C., it makes you wonder, why is it so difficult for a citizen, an average everyday citizen, under the law, the Freedom of Information Act law, that is a law. That's a real law, by the way. And yet we have government officials that think that they can skirt it and ignore it and deny that law all the time. They can't. There are only limited reasons for a denial of a FOIA request. There are only limited number of reasons that you can give back to say, well, you need to prove why you want this information. Needing a death certificate in this particular case is not one of those legal reasons. And this is just insane. We have people in our government that think that they're above the law, that they're above government, and they don't know how our government is structured. They don't know who their boss is. Ultimately, the boss is we, the people, but they don't know within the government who the boss is. They don't fully understand in written law and language, in the Constitution and in the U.S. Code, who the bosses are. So, knowing this from these people, it would not be a stretch at all for me to think that somebody in the U.S. Attorney's Office was defying the DOJ, thinking that the DOJ is not their boss, which means that the DOJ was demanding, and it wasn't being released. I'm just that was my only confusion. Again, maybe because I didn't get a chance to read the entire story. And I didn't get to really digest it properly, but that is my first impression that I got from that story. But anyway, we need to see, if somebody's asking for this information on the Seth Rich murder, I would be interested in seeing what's in there, what's in that report. I mean, is it still an ongoing investigation? I don't know if it's still an ongoing investigation or not. I don't. Just knowing how our government operates and the people within the government operate, they don't think that they answer to anybody. They don't. They really don't. It doesn't. I mean, it could even be your local or your state government office too. There's often people in there that think that they don't answer to anybody. Especially, they don't need to answer to you, the people. I mean, you're the actual ultimate boss, and you're the customer. And these people in government often think that they don't have to give good customer service because they don't have to answer to the customer, and they don't have to answer to their ultimate boss, you. And this is it's more than frustrating. It's infuriating. Now, you ever try to deal now? And this even happens here in New Hampshire, and trust me, New Hampshire is rated a state that has a very efficient state government, and usually it is very clear and very easy to deal because we're a smaller state. You know, we don't have millions of people, so we don't have thousands and thousands of state government employees. So there's a lot less stress on the government employee to perform for the citizen because there isn't that kind of demand. But there are times when you're dealing with the state government or a city government where you get frustrated as hell. Because somebody doesn't know what the hell they're talking about, and they don't think that they need to find out for you. And they send you on a wild goose chase, and by a week later you finally figure it all out, and you're back to the original spot, and you have to prove that they're the ones that they're supposed to be helping you. You say, "Oh, well, you didn't mention this," and nobody takes responsibility for screwing up. Yeah, that can even happen here in New Hampshire. Yeah, generally speaking, New Hampshire is great. State offices, you got to deal with the state government, but every once in a while, just like any other state, there's a screw up, and nobody thinks that they're answerable for their screw up. The worst part is when you're dealing with the federal government agencies. Even here in New Hampshire. Oh, that's a whole different story, man. You know that it is so clear, at least here in my wonderful state of New Hampshire, it is so strikingly clear the difference between dealing with the state government and dealing with the federal government here in this state. The difference is night and day. You automatically know from moment one that you're dealing with the gigantic bureaucracy of the federal government as soon as you walk into a federal office building and try to get service from your federal officers. Oh, it's totally different from going into the state or local government. Now, your state, because you might be living in a big state, there might not be that much difference. I can honestly say when I lived in New York, it was hard to tell the difference between going to the New York State offices versus the federal offices. There wasn't much difference there. In New Hampshire, huge difference. The way I see things right now, and the way what I'm hearing from in California, I think the easiest government to deal with out in California isn't the California state government. It's actually the federal government. So it's different state by state, but you will notice the difference in most states.
You're listening to the Rod Eccles Show, the coolest, most politically incorrect, conservative black man on the planet.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide. Plus, what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said to me, I bet you won't lend me money to buy an electric guitar. Well, he was making $100 a week, and he was over 18, and I said, I bet you I will lend you money to buy an electric guitar. And I did. So what happens? The punk gets busted for possession of dangerous drugs, and we're out $350. There's one thing about kids nowadays. You don't have to give them credit.
Universal Bank. We trust you. About as far as we can throw you.
You know, I am just jammed packed here today. I'm seriously thinking about doing something before the yesterday happened. A fourth hour, possibly. Yeah, I know. Rush Limbaugh stole my thunder and he actually did want a fourth hour yesterday. But mine would be free, and I may have to do this at some point in order to clear up the plate. But right now, we need to get into the playlist, which is today's Military Tribute Thursday, and the song. And, of course, next hour we get into military news. But this one is When the Eagle Cries is the title of this wonderful military tribute song. So please sit back, salute and enjoy, and pray for our troops.
Day, just like any other. Out of the blue, it turned to horror. How could they? Why would they? The innocent suffered hell's inferno. A senseless act that goes unforgotten. How could they? They will pay when the ego cries. Attempting vengeance, but we are focused, we seek redemption. We are free, we'll stay free. All they've done is make us stronger. The sleeping giant is asleep no longer. If need be, we'll die free. When the eagle cries. We
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
Every day, 70,000 puppies or kittens are born in the U.S. Cute, right? What's not cute is that half of all litters are accidents, which leads to millions killed in shelters each year. Turns out, those little cuties can get pregnant sooner than you think. But here's the good news. You can stop the accident before it happens. When you bring home a pet, get them fixed at 4 months old. Prevent more. Fix at month 4. Visit fixat4.com for more information. Brought to you by Best Friends Animal Society.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event!
Promises to one's community.
Healthy people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late, we stay informed, we invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hi, this is Kelsey Grammer. When military service members head into battle, none are expected to face the enemy alone, but many return home and become isolated as they struggle with the visible and invisible wounds of war. It can be difficult knowing how to overcome that challenge and rekindle bonds similar to those formed in the military. Wounded Warrior Project supports these injured veterans through their recoveries by connecting them with fellow warriors and their communities. No one should fight this battle alone. Join us at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Call Rod now, 666-603-835-3226. I hope you enjoyed the song When the Eagle Cries. That's our military tribute song for this Thursday, this Military Tribute Thursday. Next hour we have some military news, especially for you military personnel, active and retired and discharged. You're going to want to hear this about somebody who's currently in the military. But what we also have here is continuing with the Tim Kaine debacle, saying that we wouldn't have been able to find this guy as quickly or as easily if he had a suppressor or a silencer on his weapon. Now, first of all, as I mentioned, that there were already people in the hotel that had already given the police the probable location of the shooter before the cops even got there. Hey, look, you're in the room below, the floor below, and you see or hear glass raining down and hitting your window, and you hear shots from above you. Well, you even if there's a suppressor, you can kind of get the idea. Hey, the guy's upstairs here. You're upstairs. You're the floor above, and you hear shots, and you look out and you see people scattering, and you're hearing the shots, and you think, well, it sounds like it's coming from below here. You put the two together, and you figure out what floor. The shots are coming. So if somebody below you is saying it's coming from above me, and the guy above him is saying it's coming from below me, well, I'm on the 35th. Where are you? Or 33rd floor. Well, where are you? And I'm on the 31st. Oh, that means it's got to be the 32nd. Police aren't stupid. They can figure it out pretty damn quick. Not to mention when you couple that with the fact that the smoke detectors in the room went off, because as I have said, when you're firing guns, there's heat and there's smoke. And there was a lot of heat and a lot of smoke from rapid fire. Look, I got a smoke detector in my home that, you turn on the stovetop and you put butter in a pan and the smoke detector goes off. And that's how sensitive these things are. And they're sensitive in a hotel because why? Because they're really trying to catch people who are smoking in non-smoking rooms. And you know how many times people have had their smoke detectors in their hotel rooms go off because they lit up a cigarette? That's true, folks. Ask a hotel manager if that's true. Most of them will tell you, yes, that is true. So if they can pick up that, they're going to pick up the smoke from a gun being fired, a bunch of bullets being fired. That's what happened. So you put, hey, he's below me. Hey, he's above me. Well, what floors are you on? Blah, blah, blah. And the smoke detector's going off. I think they figured out pretty damn quickly what room he was in. And let's face it, even if suppressors didn't melt or would not melt at in such an extreme event, let's just say they were built for that. You still got the heat and the smoke. Would have went off. Still would have went off. And according to some reports, the perpetrator had been dead for a significant period of time before the police finally broke through the door. I guess he'd already ended his life, or attempted to before they broke through the door. So it wasn't as if I don't know what the significant is. It could have been minutes, seconds. I don't know what the significant amount of time is, but. And there are people out there who are asking the question, myself included. Was there somebody else in the room with him? Now, folks, we are finding out that this guy had cameras all over the place. Now, remember, this guy was wealthy. He could afford this stuff. He could pay cash for it. And there were people who are saying, well, he couldn't amass he couldn't get all those guns all at once. Well, it would have been expensive, yes. But again, remember, he was rich. He was wealthy, financially wealthy. He had the financial means. Could he have done all of this by himself? If given enough time to prepare, probably. Remember that this guy, he had the room for at least 3 days prior to the attack. Could he have gotten 10 bags of guns up into his room in 3 days? Yeah, they were even talking about how he wasn't detected because you put a do not disturb sign on the door. And if, hey, doctor, if there's a do not disturb sign, they may call you up and say, do you need any fresh towels or linens? Do you need them to come in? No. You just say, no, I'm good. I'm good for another day. Check me out tomorrow, whatever. I'm just really, who knows what excuse he was giving? He probably, I'm here to meditate. I need some time to myself, so please don't disturb me for a couple of days. I'll be fine. He even ordered room service. So no, there was nothing out of the ordinary with this guy. When it came to the hotel had no idea. People put I put do not disturb signs on my door when I'm in the hotels often. Because I don't want to be woken up at 7 or 8 in the morning. But housekeeping. It happens. So a lot of people put do not disturb because they want to sleep late even. They might want to sleep until 11 or noon. Especially if they've been out until 3 or 4 in the morning partying. So nobody really pays any attention unless they don't hear from the hotel guests at all. It doesn't raise a red flag to have a do not disturb sign on your door for 2 or 3 days. So this guy was there. He was able to bring. Again, you're in Vegas. You know how easy it is to bring in bags with nobody noticing what's in the bags? How about golf? You could put a few rifles into a golf bag. How many people golf when they're in Vegas? Now, I don't know if he had a golf bag or not, but that's look. If you're bringing in guns, you could put your golf clubs in there. And take the golf clubs out, like you're going golfing, come back, you could have a couple of rifles in there, and over a 3-day period, if you can fit 2 guns, you got another 6 guns. I'm sure you could fit more than that. But it's not that difficult to smuggle, especially in large, massive hotels like that. Have you seen the lobby of this place? It's not like, most of us go to a hotel and we're pretty used to the hotel lobby being pretty small and pretty intimate. And it's very difficult to sneak past the front desk if there's somebody's there. We're talking massive hotels with massive size lobbies. There, with all the people that would have been milling about, it's easy. Easy to go undetected, unnoticed. So the questions about how could he pull this off, it's not that hard. Especially if you've planned it out well, which is why I say it was not an overnight thing. He did not just think of this. Which also begs the question, did he have help? Now, I got to tell you, his brother, man, if you haven't seen video, and I'll put some links on rodeccles.net later so you can see from different angles of this guy, of his brother giving interviews. Now, I'm telling you, there is something massively wrong there. And in one of the videos, the brother almost has a slip when he mentions arms. And he cuts himself off. Now, what does it mean? Was his brother an arms dealer at one point? Was his brother smuggling arms? What I'm telling you is that this guy, he gives a slip on the air with multiple news media around him from different angles. If you take a look at his face, when he makes the slip, there is a brief, slight micro expression of, I didn't want, as if to say, I didn't want to say that, or I didn't mean to say that. And he quickly tried to recover and think of something else to replace it. It didn't work. It doesn't work if you know what you're doing, if you know what you're looking at. And really, it doesn't take a whole hell of a lot to figure out that the guy made a mistake and that he didn't mean to say what he said, but there was some truth in it. Just because you say the wrong word at the wrong time doesn't mean that it's not truthful. The actuality is that most of the time, it is truthful. Because believe it or not, humans have to work at being deceptive. We do. Look at a child when they lie to you. They have to, you can tell. Their brain is operating overtime to try to think of a cognizant and believable lie. It takes some effort to lie. It really does. The truth is the truth simply because that's what it is. We don't even have to think about it. A lie you have to think about. And oftentimes, if you're trying to repeat the same lie, you have to go back and think about what you said before so you can try to match it up. Now, this guy just spat something out like it was truthful because, I don't know, it happens every once in a while. When people, it happens more often than you think when people are, they slip out something, they say something that is truthful, and they didn't mean to say it. Because believe it or not, it's hard to lie. I know there are some people that make it look like it's very easy to do, but it really is hard to lie because you have to make it up. When the truth is not made up, it's something that you view that has happened, that is ingrained in your memory. Now, some people, if you tell a lie often enough, to themselves, they actually believe that it actually happened. And we have these these engrams, if they call them in your brain. And if a person actually, this is how some people can be such good liars, by the way. If they actually focus and actually make themselves believe that it's a real event or it's really the truth, you get these engrams where they can actually start pretending that they have seen something that they didn't see, and it actually becomes reality to them. You can't lie to yourself. Yeah, sometimes you can if you're good enough at it, and you do it often enough, you actually start believing your lie. And you actually start getting memories that back up the lie. But that's not something that you can do overnight. It takes time for a lie to be repeated within one's own brain to become true to them. So it's not something that happens overnight. So this guy slipped something. He said something, possibly truthful, that I find to be very interesting that nobody else, now maybe the cops, maybe the police investigators have picked up on it, and maybe they're investigating it. But I haven't heard anybody from the press picking up on it. And yet, there are a lot of people telling me, hey, Rod, did you see this video? Did you see this one? Did you hear this? Did you hear that? People all over the place are picking up on this guy. Like you would not believe. So it's not just me. I thought it was just me. It's not just me, which is a good thing. There is something that the brother knows that the brother's hiding. And there's something that the brother is really, I believe he is really, really scared. There's something he knows that frightens the hell out of him. It could be a threat on him or his family. Who knows? That's a possibility. If this guy was actually, if the shooter was actually tied in with ISIS, and ISIS rarely lies about actions like this. They rarely get it wrong, and they're doubling down that this guy was one of them. And you even got, the sheriff in Vegas saying, yeah, it's possible this guy could have been radicalized. The sheriff is saying all kinds of things now about this guy. That there may be he may have had help. Yes, I have the story. The Las Vegas sheriff says, believes Paddock may have not acted alone. Now, Joseph Lombardo says that at face value, he had to have some help at some point, and we want to ensure that that's the answer. In other words, he wants to find the evidence that that is actually true, which means that this guy believes Paddock was not a lone sentinel. He had help. Folks, I mentioned this 2 days ago. I said, with all those guns, mentioned this yesterday, with all the bump stocks on all the guns, why would he have all those guns and those bump stock guns if he was going to be the only one shooting? Why would he have two tripods, guns on two tripods, if he was going to be the only one shooting? Why would he bust out two windows and call attention, that much more attention to himself, if he was going to be the only one shooting? Well, there's a law enforcement officer down there in Vegas who now believes what I surmised 2 or 3 days ago. God, it's good to be right.
I'm not Rod Eccles, and I approve this message.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
A couple of weeks ago, a long-haired young person came into our bank and said, "I'll bet you're a Nazi." Well, I love America, support the Constitution, and believe in capitalism. So I told him I'm not a Nazi, and I'm not. So what happens? The punk breaks out 2 windows and pepper sprays an elderly woman in the face. You know, there's one thing about long-haired young people nowadays. They're real assholes. Long-haired young people, you suck.
A ton of stuff here in the paper file that has nothing to do with the Vegas shooting, so we're gonna have to get to some of that stuff because it's not the only thing that's happening. It is it's got everybody's attention, sure, but it's not the only thing happening. But there is one other thing that is related to the shooting. that is happening. And, well, you've already known this about the left, utilizing every possible angle except for what they should be using to take away your rights to bear arms. I mean, they won't use all the look. The Vegas shooting, 58 people murdered. No, there's 59 right. See, I'm telling you, stop doing that. He killed himself. He's the 59th victim. That doesn't make him a victim. He killed himself. He murdered 58. But I still see it now, 50 after 59 dead, and they make it sound like he was not one of them. One of the 50, he was one of the 59th one, so he was one of the 59, but he wasn't one of the 58. Plain and simple. But they don't. So, folks, we have in Chicago where we have this sort of thing, 50 or more people dying in a month or less every month in Chicago. I mean, how many homicides did Chicago have? It was over 1,000, was it not, last year? I mean, that's an average of about 100 people a month. So it's nearly two. Well, it's twice the number of deaths at the Pulse nightclub every month in Chicago, in a city where gun control is one of the toughest gun control laws on the books in the world, is also in Chicago, and yet they're suffering from such a massive homicide rate. Because after all, taking legal guns out of the hands of legal law-abiding citizens is the answer to all our ills, right? Yes, evidently it works so well in places like Chicago that Michael Moore is saying, hey, let's repeal the outdated Second Amendment. Yes. He's saying, I, Michael Moore, along with all who support an end to this epidemic of gun violence, propose a new amendment to our Constitution that repeals the ancient and outdated Second Amendment, which was written before bullets and revolvers were even invented. Really? Yeah. Well, okay. I suppose, a musket ball is not really a bullet. Not by today's standards. I get it. So he's basically before bullets and guns were invented, and replaces it with a new 28th Amendment that guarantees states can have militias, aka state national guards, which are made up of citizen soldiers who are called upon in times of natural disasters or other state emergencies, allow individuals to use guns for sport and gathering food, and guarantees everyone the right to be free of and protected from gun violence. There's no way to protect anybody from gun violence. There's no way to guarantee that sort of stuff. This guy's an idiot. A complete boob. So in other words, he doesn't want to get rid of guns because, hey, you want to be a hunter. Well, you can hunt a lot. You can hunt people with guns, with rifles. I'm just... So it was written, well, I don't know. Look, folks, they want to dump and rewrite the entire Constitution. Don't doubt me on this. This is what their goal is. The left's goal in this country, the left in this country's ultimate goal, they're not going to get it, but their ultimate goal is to completely dismantle the current Constitution, rewrite it so government has all the power, you don't. End of story. Don't doubt me.
It was just another quiet Saturday at the Johnson home.
Honey, have you seen the hammer?
It's in the garage.
Oh, no, not the garage.
Later that same day...
Dad, I can't find the bicycle pump.
Son, I'm afraid it's in the garage.
The garage?
Then the following Tuesday...
Howard, where's the car?
It's in the garage.
Does your garage look like a giant yard sale without the yard? Do you cringe at the thought of entering your garage? Then you need Crest Garage Cabinets. With one phone call, those wonderful folks at Crest will come out to your home, design the best combination of cabinets for you, and install them quickly and professionally before your very eyes.
It's a miracle.
And unlike other companies who ask for a down payment or money up front, you won't pay a penny until your Crest cabinets are installed to your satisfaction. So call Crest today, toll-free at 1-800-548-2848. That's 1-800-548-2848. And you'll never fear going into your garage again.
And now, a message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare. I was terrified. It was like your head's gonna explode.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
Just all of a sudden couldn't see.
Migraine has ruined my life.
Absolutely terrifying.
There's pain that does not stop.
It's a throbbing, pulsing, banging, hammering feeling in your head.
36 million Americans suffer.
I started getting migraines around 5 years old.
Just takes over everything.
I feel trapped by migraine.
It hurts like my head's gonna fall off.
And the whole world around you stops.
My world has gotten small.
You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
I had spent a year housebound.
It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
The Red Cross responds to nearly 66,000 disasters every year, most of them house fires. Red Cross President and CEO Gail McGovern says you need to develop an evacuation plan and practice it, especially with your children. It takes just 2 minutes for a home to be engulfed in flames.
Practice those drills. We all think our kids know what to do. They don't. We need to teach them. We have started a large campaign where we're going into vulnerable communities and helping install smoke alarms. Already 92 lives were saved, and 4 of those lives were saved by a 5-year-old girl who remembered what we taught them during these fire drills, and she got her family out. We also have a slew of free apps that people can download onto their smartphones. It's what to do in every kind of disaster you can imagine, how to prepare and how to recover.
To help support all the Red Cross does and to make a financial donation, go to redcross.org. That's redcross.org.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes 2. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The human voice. It can be sweet as music, powerful as thunder,
And so, my fellow Americans,
cheerful as laughter. But for millions of people, it can also be a sign of COPD. This serious lung disease can make it so hard to breathe, you often can't catch a breath or finish a sentence, let alone carry a tune. And many who have COPD don't even know it. That's where your voice comes in. If you think you or a loved one have symptoms, talk with a healthcare provider. Early diagnosis can mean better treatments and quality of life. Join us in raising our voices for the millions with COPD who can't. Learn more, breathe better at NIH.gov.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. We leave no warrior behind. Wounded Warrior Project is a non-profit organization created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. Whether those scars are physical or mental, we're here to make sure that they heal. And whether it's helping those with post-traumatic stress disorder live a normal life again, or giving much-needed support to injured warriors in veterans' hospitals, because no one deserves our help more than the men and women who risk their lives to keep us safe. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps demonstrate their commitment to defend the American way of life. Since 1775, we have served our nation as a force in readiness. From combat operations to humanitarian assistance in every corner of the world. No matter where the mission takes us today, or wherever our country needs us tomorrow, we always remember the land we call home. As Marines, we take a stand for each other, for our nation, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
You want to know what time it is? It's time to bring the rain.
Zinc Media. Feel the power of knowledge. Indeed. Welcome back. Hour number 3 here on the Rod Eccles Show. The fastest 3 hours on Internet Talk Radio is right here, powered by Zinc Media Arts. Thank you for being here. It is still October number 5 in the year of our Lord 2017. The call-in number is still 603-835-3226, or if you know how to Skype it, it's Reccles44, RECCLES, the number 44. So people, and I don't know how Skype really fully works, but the issues will be ironed out shortly because we are, actually I have learned I can port the number, I guess, to a different service. So if you're still having troubles getting through, and I think most people, the vast majority of people still are, I don't know why some people can get through and most people can't. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. In fact, some people are telling me that they're getting, it says the number is not in service. And other people are saying the number is busy. Well, there is no busy number. I don't know what it is, but somebody doesn't like me. But evidently I can port this number. But I'm not looking to port this particular number, so we'll have a new number and it all figured out and changed and by next week. I promise, folks. This is ridiculous. I know. But you still have the ability to do that. In any case, I don't. But in any case, so you have the number and you have the Skype ID, as well as all these social media outlets that you can hit me up on. Of course, it's the Rod Eccles Show on Facebook, and it's simply Rod Eccles everywhere else. Basically, it's Google Plus. It's Rod Eccles. Twitter at Rod Eccles. Gab, it's at Rod Eccles. WeMe, it's at Rod Eccles. LinkedIn, it's at Rod Eccles. It's all. I make it very difficult to find me. I know. Even my website is very cryptic. RodEccles.net. So, yeah, I make it very difficult to be able to find me and communicate with me at places. And hey, you can even communicate the Rod Eccles Show at gmail.com. Yeah, see, I make everything so cryptic and difficult. Nobody can find me and communicate with me because I don't want to talk to people. So I make it very hard. You can't find me on Twitter, and you can't find me on any social media anywhere because the names are so cryptic. Well, there are people that do. You don't know who they are. I mean, for some people, for good reason. And some people, they just think they're being clever. They just think they're being, I don't know, ID 54 or so is a name. What the hell does that mean? Don't even know who you are. Well, the people who I care about, man, like the two friends that I got, they know what the ID 54, because it was back in the day when we were having some fun, and they know the day and the time, and that has to do with the day and the time, man. So, okay, those three people know who you are, but the rest of the world, and we're supposed to think that it's okay that you be that cryptic. You want to be friends. I hate the people that want to be friends. They send you a friend or follow request, right? And they don't even have a picture. I mean, at least you can do is just grab a fake picture off the web somewhere from some. They don't even have a picture. I even had one person. Now I don't know if it was a guy or a girl. One person who sent me. I'm not even going to say what medium it was on. They sent me a request. Well, they didn't even have a picture. Their bio was very thin, very little information. So I denied the request. They sent me an email via that social media chastising me, thinking, what, are you too good? Really? You could be one of those stupid bots because, Facebook was and Twitter was big with these bots at one point. And if you agreed to be their friend, next thing you know, you're getting loaded up with all this sexual harassment crap. I'm not interested in chatting with, Mako from South Korea or something like that. It's just ridiculous. I want to be your friend. You don't want to be my friend. You think that I'm into your soft porn crap. But that's what happened. But this person evidently was a real person, not somebody in porn. They got mad at me. I'm like, well, how am I supposed to know? I don't know who you. There's no information about you. I'm not even sure that's your real name. You have no picture. I'm just supposed to follow you back? Really? No, not going to happen. As a matter of fact, the number of people that I follow is going to start dwindling because there's a lot of noise out there. And there are people that famous and non-famous people both, that I want to see more of their postings on various social media. And because I follow too many people, I don't see their postings often enough. Or at all. I mean, they'll say, hey, did you see what I posted here? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't. And that's really starting to bug me. Maybe it bugs you too. But, I mean, don't take it, if you're listening to the program and I'm currently following you and I stop following you, don't take it personally. I can't follow everybody. And I'm not going to follow everybody. So you'll in various medium, you'll and I know people are asking, well, why don't you follow me back? Well, do you really want me to follow you because you have something interesting to say, or is your stuff really just about you? My social media, except for my personal Facebook page, my social media accounts are not about me, really. They're really about the show. So I have close to 5,000 friends on Facebook. I know it's oxymoron, friend on Facebook, but that's not for the show. The Twitter feed is really about this show. The Gab feed is really about this show. The Me feed or MeWe feed is really about this show. The Rod Eccles Show page on Facebook is obviously about the show. LinkedIn is really about my professional connections that have to do with this program and my various businesses. Plain and simple. There isn't a lot out there for. I'm not really one of these people that goes out there and plasters myself all over the place for personal use. I hardly even post on my personal page on Facebook because I'm too busy. There are people that have that say things and post information that I find very interesting. There are people for professional reasons because I'm affiliated with them in some way. Through this program. Maybe they're syndicating my program. Maybe they once syndicated the program, or maybe they syndicate my articles, my blogs when I write them. There's some professional connect. Those are people I'm not going to get rid of. Those people I'm not going to stop following. Those are the people I want to follow for a number of reasons. And besides, some of them are pretty damn funny, by the way. I got to admit. But some of them also give me some great info. Do you think I just find all this stuff on my own? I bring it? No, I don't find it all on my. Much of it I do, but all of it, no. No, I admit it. There's stuff that people bring up that, like information on the program today. Obviously there's Agent 0010. I follow him on various social media. I'm not going to stop following him. One of the stories I brought you today about the shooter's brother. I was first turned on to the video of this by a man by the name of Kevin. Of course, I'm not going to stop following him. He's also one of my syndicators. But he gives me stuff a lot of times. I mean, that is just, it blows my mind. So, I mean, those are people that I need to keep in touch with. But because there are so many other people out there to just throw up stuff, there's noise. I can't cut through and see them often enough. I'm not interested in the Kardashians. If you're going to post about the Kardashians, I'm not interested in them. Why would I follow you if that's what you're posting about? So don't take it personally. You just don't have stuff that I'm interested in, okay? That's because when I've done that in the past, people have gotten angry with me. I don't want to see a post about the Kardashians. I'm not interested, okay? Fine. Just you've got your followers, and what's really amazing is there was one person. I don't know. I guess he takes things too personally, but evidently he had like 70,000 followers. I stopped following him on Twitter, and he sent me a direct message on Twitter. Well, my stuff isn't good enough for you. I wouldn't even think you would notice, but evidently he did, or maybe it was she. I don't know. It had a name like Stacy Tracy or something like that. And the picture, their post picture was really they were like in a costume, so I couldn't even tell if they were he or a she. But they're into the pop culture stuff. That's not me. No, maybe he's a drag queen. I don't know. In any case, go off on tangents sometimes. But anyway, so yeah, we'll be. This is all coming forth with the. Well, look, it's I follow a hell of a lot more people than a lot of folks who are in my position. I mean, especially on Twitter and other places. I mean, there are people that you look at, Instagram. I'm just starting my Instagram account, looking. There are people. They have 100,000 people follow them, and they follow less than 100. Nobody's getting mad at them. I mean, seriously. So, because those are the people that they want to get information from for a good reason. To them. I mean, it may not be good to you, but at least to them, it's a good reason. So, yeah, by the way, Instagram is Lightning Rod Photo. And it really has very little to do with this program. Photography is just a hobby of mine. Always has been. I've always liked doing it. In today's medium of using digital medium like phones and digital cameras and iPads and all that kind of stuff to take pictures, I do not use digital means to change the look of my pictures. I don't. I hate when people do that. I do not use any type of medium or software, photoshopping. I don't Photoshop any of my pictures. These are all, as if you're taking a picture with film. That's what I believe a picture is. If you want to say it's art, then you can start manipulating if you're making art. I'm not making art. I'm taking photographs. There is a difference. The photograph is not art per se. So it's just. But anyway, I find it interesting, and if you want to look me up on Instagram, it's Lightning Rod Photo. Get it? Lightning Rod, name Rod, Lightning. Yeah. Lightning Rod Photo over on Instagram. Because pictures, they're fun. But they're not necessarily having anything to do with the program. I try to take, basically it's the moniker is I take photos that represent the essence of the people and the places of New England. And people find those interesting. You might too. If you don't want to see interesting pictures of mostly places, very few people. But the places also represent people a lot of times. If you don't want to see pictures like that, then you don't friend me. You don't follow me, whatever. If you like pictures like that, then you might want to follow me. I follow people with similar types of styles from around the globe. Because that's what I like. Is that bad? I don't know. By the way, fall storm. It's too bad I'm not out in California because I take some pictures of this stuff. Fall storm brings up to 18 inches of snow to Colorado peaks already. It's got to be gorgeous, but it's also very devastating to the global warming theorists and man-made climate change. The National Weather Service says an early autumn storm is dropping heavy snow in the northern Colorado mountains. By the way, this is a normal activity over there. It hasn't changed. The resort town of Steamboat Springs reported 18 inches earlier this week. Red Cliff, south of Vail, reported 14 inches. Winter Park reported nearly 10 inches of snow. This is the first week of October, and they call it an early fall or early autumn snowstorm. It happens all the time. They're making it sound like this is something that doesn't. It happens all the time out there. By the way, Steamboat Springs. I want to visit that place simply because of the name. Who would not want to go to a place called Steamboat Springs? I mean, it could be a dump. I don't know. I've never been there. But just by the name alone, I'd love to go there. It just sounds so cool. Steamboat Springs. Sounds so cool. By the way, how do you... a steamboat in a spring? It can't have... Who puts these names together, by the way, to come up with a name of a town? Steamboat and Springs don't seem to fit, but they did it and called it a town by this. So that's why I want to visit. And that's in Colorado. Maybe I'll get to Steamboat Springs someday in Colorado. Anybody out there that needs a keynote speaker? I'll be more than happy to go. Bring me out to Denver. I'll speak in Denver, and then you can take me on a tourist trip to Steamboat Springs. I'd be up and willing to go for that.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
Yes, love hurts. It can hurt emotionally, but more important, it can also hurt you physically. It can hurt you in a way which nobody who owns a hot tub and lives in California can afford to be unaware of. Yes, I'm talking about California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. This painful, incurable disease can make an enjoyable soak in a hot tub with family, friends, and dog into a literally unforgettable experience. If you catch California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, not only will you walk around feeling like you're about to pass a twisted sardine can lid, you'll also smell like a pile of burning tractor tires. So don't jump out of the frying pan and into the hot tub, because if you get California hot tub rectal gonorrhea, it'll really burn your ass.
This has been a public service message brought to you by the Citizens Against CHTRG Foundation. California hot tub rectal gonorrhea. We're not going to take it sitting down.
By the way, when it comes to following, I know some people are probably thinking, well, I only want to follow famous people. If you actually look at my friends list on any social media outlet, you'll find that I follow very few famous people. I don't believe in celebrity. I mean, just because you're famous doesn't mean you have some interesting stuff to say or share with me, and most of them don't. Even if I happen to like them a little bit, I still don't follow most famous people. It's just there's no need to. These people think that they're bigger than they actually are, and you follow people because you have something in common, or they post stuff that you're interested in knowing about. And most celebrities I have found don't post stuff that I am interested in, so I don't follow a lot of them. Today's holidays, by the way. So my follower list is filled with just everyday regular people like you and me. Today's holidays for October 5th, it is Do Something Nice Day. Yesterday you may have celebrated International Toot Your Own Flute or Toot Your Own Horn Day, but today is a day that you spend the day thinking of others and do something nice for other people. So Do Something Nice Day is today. Today is also National Apple Betty Day. Yes, it's also known as Apple Brown Betty. It's similar to apple pie, but has buttered and sweetened crumbs instead of a crust. Now, Betty's may also be made with other fruits such as berries or pears, and their main seasonings are sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg. I don't care. It just sounds delish. So Apple Betty's Day is today, National Apple Betty Day. It is also National Get Funky Day. And it was started by Funky Town Fitness in St. Augustine, Florida, to help people break free of their comfort zones and let loose for a fun, exciting day throughout the country. The day evolved from the way the community happily came together to help complete strangers following Hurricane Matthew in 2016. This Funky Day is dedicated to getting funky in any way possible. So get down, get funky. It is celebrated annually on October the 5th. So today is National Get Funky Day. It's also National Depression Screening Day. That's not a funky thing, but it's National Depression Screening Day. It's also National Storytelling Day. Not just children's book, but just storytelling. It is also the start of Sukkot, also known as the Feast of Booths, Feast of Tabernacles, and the Feast of ingathering, and it's observed on the 15th of Tishri on the Hebrew calendar. It is also World Teachers Day, so hug a teacher today. Give them an apple if you know a teacher. Now, yesterday was just Random Poetry Day. Well, today is National Poetry Day. How many poetry days are we going to have? So today's National Poetry Day as well, not just random poetry, real poetry. So those in a nutshell are your holidays for today, October number 5. So go out and celebrate, will you?
You might be surprised to learn who has Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis. Nearly 1 in 200 Americans are suffering with a debilitating pain and constant disruption of these inflammatory bowel diseases, or IBD. Chances are you know someone with IBD. For example, your neighbor or coworker. The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation was created to help patients cope and to find a cure. People with IBD can't wait. Won't you help someone you know? Visit www.escapethestall.com today.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Everyone is talking about healthcare these days. America spends twice that of other developed countries on our healthcare system, yet our health ranks near the bottom. How can we stop spending so much and getting so little? Shifting to a system based on primary care can help fix the problem. Patients with a primary care doctor live longer, healthier lives and are less likely to suffer from cancer, heart disease, or stroke. Primary care that is comprehensive and coordinated also saves money. Patients who have a primary care doctor spend 30% less on health care than patients who don't. States with a high number of primary care doctors have lower health care costs and higher quality care. Primary care can help make America healthy again. To learn more about the benefits of primary care, visit www.healthisprimary.org. This message is brought to you by America's Family Physicians.
It's been called shell shock, war neurosis, and battle fatigue. Today, we call it post-traumatic stress disorder, and it affects 1 out of every 5 warriors returning from battle in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Wounded Warrior Project offers comfort and support for warriors with PTSD and all other scars of war, whether those scars are visible or hidden. Find out how to help, because for warriors, the greatest casualty is being forgotten. Please visit woundedwarriorproject.org.
The Amazon's rainforest is being cut down so fast that by 2030, 55% of it could be completely wiped out. The Earth's forests can't speak up when they need help, but we can. Be the voice for those who have no voice. Visit worldwildlife.org.
There's a threat targeting America. One that's growing fast, but may still be hard to see. Lyme disease. Spread by tiny ticks, often smaller than the head of a pin. This dangerous disease is now more widespread than West Nile, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS combined. And if left untreated, it can lead to arthritis, facial paralysis, and even memory and concentration problems, often called brain fog. As the threat of Lyme disease grows to more than 300,000 projected cases each year, it's time for us to target Lyme disease. That means checking for ticks when you've been outside, even in your own backyard. It means seeing a doctor if you experience the symptoms of Lyme disease, which can include joint pain, flu-like symptoms, fever, fatigue, or sometimes a bullseye-shaped rash. Set your sights on stopping Lyme. Learn how you can target Lyme disease at targetlyme.org.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, Who we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here? You're getting older. Not that old. Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain. Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
And welcome back. Yes, you are still listening to yours truly, me. Glad that you are here. By the way, this is now the time of day, or the time in the show for this day on Thursday, part of Military Tuesday, or Thursdays. Yeah, what day is it? Tuesday or Thursday? It's Thursday. It's now time for the Military Report. Yes, House Democrats boycott the VA health event, complicating reform plans. Just so you know, so we'll get started on this. Plans to overhaul veterans' health care this fall could be in jeopardy after House Democrats boycotted a supposedly friendly roundtable discussion on the issue on Tuesday over the inclusion of a Republican-linked advocacy group they insist is more interested in political attacks than policy crafting. The controversy comes just a few weeks before House lawmakers are planning to fast-track new legislation surrounding outside care programs at the Department of Veterans Affairs, including the problematic Choice Program. The topic was already sensitive within the veterans community before the boycott, with concerns about shifting funding to private sector physicians and the possibility of a slow dismantling of VA responsibilities. And now this is just sad, folks. You have the Democrat Party, who is now aligning itself against our veterans. There is no other way to view this. I mean, let's face it, they resided over a time when the VA was at its lowest point under Barack Hussein Obama. I mean, the VA is just terrible. It's awful. It is. I know it's improving now under Trump, and things are getting better, and there are a lot of veterans that are now liking the VA, and they're thinking that they're not getting anywhere near what they were originally promised. I don't care what right now they're basing it on on the care that they used to get, and it's a lot better than it used to be, so that makes them happy. But it's not what was promised, and it's not what it could be, and it's not what it should be. And so I think we need to completely revamp the VA. It probably should be in the hands of the military and not some civilian agency. And it needs to be well funded. And it needs to be done in such a way where a vet has the choice. Maybe it should be some sort of form of insurance where a vet has a choice of going to his local VA. If he does not have a VA near him, he has the choice of seeing his local physician or going to a more localized hospital. Right now, most vets don't have that kind of a choice. And that's just wrong in my book. Speaking of needing care, you probably didn't hear about this, but this is from the New York Times. Special Forces troops killed. 3 Special Forces troops were killed and 2 were wounded in an ambush in Niger. Yes, the little country on the continent of Africa called Niger. 3 United States Army Special Forces soldiers were killed and 2 were wounded on yesterday, in an ambush in Niger while on a training mission with troops from that nation in northwestern Africa. We can confirm reports that a joint U.S. and Nigerian patrol came under hostile fire in southwest Niger, said Lieutenant Commander Anthony Afalvo, a spokesman for the United States Africa Command in Stuttgart, Germany. All 5 American soldiers were Green Berets, and 2 United States said 2 United States military officials. The attack took place 120 miles north of Niamey, the capital of Niger, near the border with Mali, where militants with Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb and affiliate of Al-Qaeda have conducted cross-border raids. Niger troops were also believed to have suffered casualties, but details of their casualties were not immediately known. So these are our people are in danger and under fire constantly all over the planet, even in places where people might normally think that they would not be. And we don't even know where many of our overseas troops are, but they're out there trying. Look, we're there trying to help the people of Niger protect themselves from things like Al-Qaeda. And yet we have Democrats here who want to keep them from getting the proper care that they deserve once they stop serving because of one reason or another. Or they would rather stand behind this guy. This is from Military Times. A former West Point cadet in the Che Guevara shirt. Remember that picture? West Point cadet in his hat. He wrote the words, "Communism will win." Well, he's an Afghan combat veteran, I guess. Well, here's the story from the Military Times. Since the tweets of Second Lieutenant Spencer Raponi first swirled around the internet last week, several outlets have printed rumors and speculation about his service. To start, the former West Pointer graduated in May of 2016 when the now infamous photos were taken, and he is currently in the field with the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, 10th Mountain Division, according to Army spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Tanya Stokes. Brother, she's a woman. I told you I am not politically correct. I do not say spokeswoman, chairwoman, congresswoman, all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's disrespectful by just saying spokesman. That's the title. Multiple online military news outlets have reported that Raponi, R-A-P-O-N-E, look, depending on, what part of the country you're coming from, it could be Rapone or it could be Raponi. I'm just saying. Look, we've got people in it. There are people here in New England that have the same spelling for a last name and pronounce it totally different. Like B-A-R-U-B-E. Now, some people pronounce that name. Here in New Hampshire, they pronounce that last name Baroob. Some people pronounce it Barubi. Some people even pronounce it Barabee. So don't get on me if I don't pronounce this guy's name correctly, because I don't know. It depends on where he's from. Rapone or Raponi is a one-time member of the 75th Ranger Regiment and was released for standards. Release for standards. In other words, he didn't meet up to the standards before receiving his appointment to the U.S. Military Academy. Didn't mean that he was derelict of duty. It just means it's kind of like if you're trying out for the Navy SEALs and you get released or you drop out. You drop this. You couldn't meet standards. Release for standards. That's all. You just couldn't hack it. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. You just didn't make the cut. That's what this means. He was released for standards before receiving his appointment to the U.S. Military Academy. So, evidently, he couldn't be a ranger. So he couldn't cut it as a ranger. And that's fine. Not everybody can. The Army Times has been able to confirm that Rapone or Raponi enlisted as an infantryman back in September of 2010, and following initial training, he completed the Ranger Assessment and Selection Program. He received his Tan Beret and the 75th Ranger Regiment Scroll in spring of 2011, and then deployed to Afghanistan that summer with the 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment out of Fort Stewart, Georgia. But later that year, according to U.S. Army Special Operations Command spokesman Lieutenant Robert Bachholt, he was removed for standards from the regiment following the following year. He headed off to West Point, meaning he just, for whatever reason, he didn't meet up to the standards. He couldn't cut it. And so he got removed, and somehow he got appointed to go to West Point. Good for him. But then he comes out and he has this hat, communism will win, and wearing a Che Guevara. Now, by the way, military personnel, while in uniform, cannot espouse any type of political beliefs. They're not allowed. So he broke a rule by doing that, by the way, because he was in his cadet uniform. So now they're looking at the possibility he may. Now, in Trump's military, I know it's not Trump's military, but with Trump as commander-in-chief, let's just say in Trump's military, he may not survive. In other words, he may be discharged for it, whether it be honorable or dishonorable. Look, if you're out there commending communism in this country, and you're serving in the military, and you want to defend and say communism will win, there are a lot of people that'll think that that's treacherous. Personally, I think if this is the case, if he really does believe this stuff, if anything, he should be chastised. It should be put on his permanent record. He should be punished for this. But if he actually believes this crap, communism will win, and he really likes Che Guevara, he should be drummed out dishonorably. That's my personal belief. Seriously. And that is the military report for today for October number 5 in the year of our Lord 2017. Here's something that is somewhat related. U.S. border crossings are fewer, but they're riskier and more expensive than ever, according to the Wall Street Journal. Trump administration's hard line. Longer-term trends are suppressing numbers of those trying to illegally cross the border with Mexico. Now, isn't that what the whole point of the wall is all about? Is to cut down people trying to cross the border illegally? Isn't that the whole thing? In other words, we don't have an open, porous border under Trump, and we don't even have the wall up yet. We have no portion of his newly promised walls up on the border, and yet illegal crossings are down. So what does that tell you? It tells you that everything, it really stems from the Oval Office. If you have a commander-in-chief, if you have an chief executive, who stands for law and order of the Constitution and of the protection of the people of the United States, if he takes that job seriously, that he's supposed to protect the people of the United States, first and foremost, other countries will see that. Other people in other countries will see that, will understand that, and there'll be fewer of them will attempt to do things that are disrespectful and break our laws. And thus, if we actually start putting more border security people out, or we let the border security personnel that are there actually do their jobs, we don't hamstring them, we maintain and repair the current parts of the walls that are up already along the border, it makes it a little bit more difficult for people to cross. And if you get here and you know that there is an increased chance of you going back from whence you came, you're less likely to spend a lot of time, money, risking your life to cross the border illegally. And thus, with fewer people and it being riskier to do so, because they have to go to more extreme places and remote places in order to cross, fewer people are going to do it. That's just the way it works. And all we can say is, good. It's about dang time that we had somebody that actually stood for the beliefs of this country, that actually stood for the Constitution, the laws of this land, that actually stood for the notion that the chief executive is there to protect as best he can, using any legal means possible, the people of this union, the United States of America. Because that's what the Constitution says for them to do. And that is what Donald J. Trump is attempting to do to the best of his ability. And even before Congress even approves the money to put up the wall, we can see that his efforts are already starting to pay off for the citizens of this country.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 800-595-2614 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 595-2614 to take your call now. Call 800-595-2614. That's 800-595-2614. Again, 800-595-2614.
We've all heard of male enhancement, but now there's an expert on true male enhancement in the areas that really count. In Herb Ellis's book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, you'll find answers to questions like, why doesn't she want to have sex? A quick start, quick results workout guide, plus what you can do as a side hustle to make money now. With all the great tips in this book, every man can benefit. Get the book, Husband 2.0, Real Male Enhancement, on Amazon.com.
It started with a knock, but it wouldn't end there. What happens in the story next, many wouldn't understand, and most wouldn't believe. 5 + 2 = Perfection by Samuel Rosette Jr. is a must-read. The scriptures within are reminders of the ancient past, and yet intriguingly infuses with texts which stand on the edge of the stage of relevancy. Available online at Westbow Press, Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Noble, and SamuelRosetteJr.com.
Absolutely, for the wonderful Latino, the hot-blooded Latino music. Yeah, I gotta love the Latino music. Something about Latino music that is just las cosas más grandes. Actually, I think it's more if I actually pronounce it, las cosas más grandes. Sometimes, depending on the country, there is a lispy sound to the Spanish. And my understanding is that there were Spanish monarchs that had lisp, and in order to not embarrass the monarch and probably to save their own lives, they would speak the same way that the monarch spoke, in the same tone and same way. So if he had a lisp, they would speak in the lisp, and that just sort of permeated the Spanish, which is why sometimes it sounds like that some people, and they're speaking Spanish, have a lisp, but that's just the Spanish. That's how it came about. It's not really lisping; it's just the way that the sound is, or the language is, because that's how it's evolved, and that's why it's evolved that way, evidently. So. But it's a heartfelt language. It sounds very smoldering and sexy when it is spoken by the right person. Spanish. I never really. I know that they're called Romance languages. You know, the French, the Spanish, and the Italian, and the Spanish also, which is not really Spanish, but it also includes the Portuguese, by the way. But I never really found. Nothing against Italian, but I never really found it a romantic like Spanish or French. But it is called and considered one of the three romance languages. Now, you would say, well, it's because it came out of the Latin. It has its roots in Latin. Well, so does English, but nobody calls English a romance language. We don't call English a romance language. We just don't. It's a carnivorous language. In fact, what that means is basically that English has taken a lot of its words from other languages. It's a thieving language for whatever reason. But it is part of the lexicon of the old Latin. In any case, more than 70% of U.S. fear robots taking over their lives. So says a survey from The Guardian, an offshore news publication. As Silicon Valley heralds progress in self-driving cars and robot carers, much of the rest of the country is worried about machines taking control of human tasks. Silicon Valley celebrates artificial intelligence and robots as fields that have the power to improve people's lives through innovation like driverless cars and robot carers for the elderly. Now, I don't know if an elderly person wants to be cared for by a robot versus a human being, but anyway. That message isn't getting through the rest of the country, however, where more than 70% of Americans express wariness or concerns about a world where machines perform many of the tasks done by humans, according to a new Pew research. I'm one of those people, because you start disconnecting from people if you have a robot doing these a robot taking care of the elderly instead of a human being. That's disconnecting from an elderly person. I don't think they're going to be happy about a robot taking care of them. A driverless car is one thing. I'm not sure that I'm there yet for a driverless car, whether it's on the ground with wheels or it's flying in the air. I'm not there yet to utilize. Someday will be. But as far as being a doctor or a nurse or a caregiver, that's a human thing. It should only be done by humans, not robots. Now, if you want to have a robot there to assist you, a human, that's different. But it should not be the substitute in my book. That's human disconnection, and we all suffer because of that. That's what people are frightful and fearful of, not necessarily they're going to be driven around town in robot cars. And finally today, struggling family-owned farms continue to disappear. Small family farms have been slowly disappearing for decades, and this will likely be the case of another farm called Minor's Farm in Bristol, Connecticut, founded in 1864. The 30-acre parcel on Chippen's Hill is operated by Paul Minor and his wife Vicky, and his father Paul J. Minor, Mark Minor, and the brother of Paul C. Minor. They separately harvest the hay. It's a kind of the end of an era. I don't know if this would necessarily be our last year, but it could be. Now, the reason is mostly because of taxes on the land. They can't afford the taxes. They can't afford the property taxes. They can't afford, the death taxes and the income taxes and all the other taxes that come around that affect small farms, because they've been told, hey, your farm is worth $10 million. They don't make anywhere near $10 million, but that's the value of the property, and they have to pay for this stuff, and it's driving them out. It really is, and that's not good for local eats, by the way. It's not good at all. Anyway, we're out of time for today. Unfortunately, got so much more. We're going to consider doing a fourth hour one of these days, probably sometime next week. But tomorrow it is Open Mic Friday, Freedom Friday, so just about anything goes. So you're going to want to tune in to that day. Until then, have a wonderful Thursday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.
Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A shameless politician always plays her cards right. Got a crew for the fight on the airwaves. Lapdogs in the press keep their mouths tight. Cause a Clinton never needs to explain why it is what they done or with who. A real Clinton knows that they're entitled, and you don't get to know what they do.
What difference does it make?
For Clinton, what's loaded in some fat Apple file? A Clinton plays the victim for promotion. A Clinton kills it off with a smile. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. A server full of secrets ain't no thing. Damn, it feels good to be a Clinton. Nothing ever hits with the sting.